I can name 100 good reasons to live in Florida, but hurricanes ain't one of them. As we brace for Mother Nature's mood swings here in Orlando, it is predicted that there will be above normal hurricane activity this year. So that is just great news, isn't it? Yeah! So today, just for you, we're tackling a huge question. Where are the best and worst places to live for hurricane safety in Florida? If you're thinking about moving to the Orlando area, stick around. I'll be sharing key information updated for 2025 you won't want to miss. I'm Kathy Williams, and I'm part of a mother-daughter realtor duo, Team Williams, and we are your Orlando Relocation Experts. Even though you typically don't hear about hurricanes until August, hurricane season actually runs from June 1st through November 30th. But we typically see most of the activity between August and October. So far this year, it's been pretty calm, but you always know when Publix runs out of bread, it's about to get real. You call it panic shopping. I call it hurricane cardio.
You're a hurricane, a sexy hurricane.
So what are the worst places you could choose to live in Florida when it comes to hurricane safety? In third place is Southeast Florida, specifically Miami-Dade County, Broward County, and Palm Beach County. Of course, with its proximity to the ocean, there's more risk of storm surges and flooding. Second place is on the other side of the tip of the peninsula, which is located along the Gulf of Mexico. This body of water is known to have warmer waters that are prone to hurricane formation. And believe it or not, the first place winner for the worst place to live in hurricanes is the northwest region of Florida, or the Panhandle. This area is also located along the Gulf, so the warmer waters mixed with factors such as geography make it the most prone to hurricanes. Now, I do want to cover the best places to live for hurricane safety, but before I do that, I just want to mention that while some areas experience more frequent or intense impacts than others, all of Florida has been affected by hurricanes at some point. I don't want to give the impression that the safest areas are immune to hurricanes. They just generally experience less frequent direct hits and weaker impacts from storms. My family and I have lived in Orlando for 30 plus years, and though Orlando is further inland, we definitely have experienced hurricanes over the years. Back in 2004, when a series of hurricanes came through, starting with Hurricane Charlie, we lost power for about a week. But the reason for that was because we lived in an older neighborhood with a lot of old oak trees. And when they came down, they hit the power lines. Most of the newer homes in Orlando have lines that run underground. So this, of course, decreases the risk of the power outages. I see neighborhoods with homes built in the 80s that have underground power lines, so it's not hard to find a neighborhood that has the infrastructure to mitigate the risk of power loss and flooding. In 2022, Hurricane Ian came through Orlando and had a devastating impact on some communities. In response, Orange County undertook several flood mitigation and hurricane resiliency projects in Orlando and the surrounding areas. These projects are designed to help protect the communities from future storms and reduce flood damage. Ian had caused lots of flooding, especially in the lower lying areas of Orlando. Over the past couple of years, I've seen main roads be improved for better water drainage, and utility companies like Duke Energy are replacing older wood poles with steel poles as a part of efforts to improve the safety and reliability of the electrical grid. That is actually really good because I lived in an older, charming neighborhood called College Park that I was talking to you about earlier. It got hit really hard in 2004, and we lost power for over a week due to trees that fell and hit the power lines. So Orlando isn't immune to hurricane threats, but our location, infrastructure, and preparation makes us one of Florida's safest places. Which brings me to the answer of where are the best places to live for hurricane safety? And that is the central part of Florida and also the north central region, due to the fact that hurricane streak deteriorates over land, and a hurricane can only grow and thrive when it's over the ocean. Oftentimes, Category 3 hurricanes will be a Category 1 or a tropical storm by the time it gets to us in Orlando. If you're considering moving to Florida, there are things you can look for or do to lessen your chances of hurricane damage. Let's start with the major things first. I would most definitely avoid wood frame houses. I'm talking about the houses that have framing made of wood or a combination of wood and stucco. Are there wood frame houses out there in Florida that are in good shape? Yes, of course, but there's a higher chance of structural damage because of the risk of the moisture entering the wood frame from like the exterior of the home. So your safer bet is to avoid wood frame homes altogether in Florida unless you have the time or money to be on top of the upkeep of a wood frame house. There's plenty of homes that are constructed with block material, so better to just say no to wood frame. Sound good? Second thing you can do to lessen your chance of hurricane damage is avoiding homes with a high risk flood zone. There are plenty of areas in Orlando that are classified as flood zone X, which is the least hazardous flood zone. So it's easy to avoid the high risk flood zones here because you know what they say about Florida. It's location, location, and elevation.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're considering places to live in Greater Orlando, we have an awesome updated Greater Orlando relocation guide that you can download by clicking the link in the description box. This is a great resource for getting familiar with all the awesome areas of Greater Orlando, so be sure to download this guide. The third thing I would avoid is a house with a very old roof, especially if you are house hunting during hurricane season, which always adds a certain amount of excitement and drama to your search. If you're fine with replacing the roof right away, then you do your thing. But if you're like most people, you probably don't have time to deal with a leaky roof after moving into your home, especially during rainy season. The newer the roof, the better, especially a roof that has hurricane safety features in place like hurricane straps and ties, which are metal connectors that secure the roof trusses to the walls. This brings me to my fourth consideration, home insurance. You might have heard that home insurance is super crazy expensive in Florida, and it can be, especially in South Florida. However, insurance can be reasonable and discounted if the home has certain hurricane safety features. And the newer the home, the better when it comes to insurance premiums. If you're looking at existing homes, something important to know is that insurance companies will normally not insure a home that has a roof with less than 5 years left of life remaining. So it's best to purchase a home with a roof that is less than 15 years old. And here's something else a lot of people don't know. During hurricane season, if you're buying a home in Florida, it's crucial to shop for and bind your insurance policy as soon as possible. So this actually happened to a client of mine. We were 2 days out from closing and they had not bound their insurance. So we had to delay closing by 3 days because the insurance company would not bind the insurance due to a named hurricane in the path of the home they were purchasing. Fortunately, no damage or anything, thankfully. But you can expect these restrictions to be lifted between 24 to 78 hours after the storm has passed, although this can vary from one insurer to another. Fortunately, this was not a problem for my buyers or the sellers in the transaction, but this could mean a delayed closing for your home, which may or may not be problematic for you, just depending on how quickly you needed to close or move in. But regardless, it can be stressful to go through for sure. If you're wanting to move during this time of year, this hurricane season, I would say the possibility of this event happening to you is pretty low, but better to know and be prepared for the possibility in case you're needing to be in a home by a certain time frame. The moral of the story, get your insurance bound early. What else can be done to lower your chance of hurricane damage in Central Florida? As I mentioned in my story earlier, trees can potentially be a problem, especially if they're unhealthy and close to the home. It's best to make sure that any overhanging branches are kept trim. And if you're purchasing a home, consider the trees on the property and their potential upkeep. You might be surprised to know that many people don't really replace or upgrade windows in Central Florida. And that's because here we don't normally get high enough winds that cause objects to be flying around and crashing into windows. Plus, windows are pricey, and we're not required to have wind-resistant windows like it's required on the coast and in South Florida. Is it a good idea to replace older windows eventually? Yes. Old windows, especially single-pane windows, are more likely to let in water, but it's usually not the first upgrade that people consider here due to the return on investment and the low chances of issues from storms. Central Florida is a great place to live. Largely, we're not impacted by hurricanes like other parts of Florida. We don't ever have to evacuate. We tailgate. So whether you're buying, selling, or just preparing, the key is awareness, preparedness, and smart decisions. I'd love to chat with you about your real estate needs or goals. My contact info can be found below and in the description box. I hope you found this video helpful, and remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Have a great day and stay safe. Bye-bye now.